I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, oath of office. We'll start with Nancy and work our way around the table. How's that sound? Okay, just read that out loud, please.
I, Nancy Niesick, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee for the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society according to the best of my ability. And I do further solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed, or offered, or promised to contribute any money or other valuable thing as a consideration or reward for the giving or withholding a vote at the election at which I was elected to said office, and have not made any promise to influence the giving or withholding any such vote.
Thank you. Jim, your turn.
I, James Tarbin, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee for the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society according to the best of my ability. And I do further solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed or offered or promised to contribute any money or other valuable thing as a consideration or reward for the giving or withholding a vote at the election at which I was elected to said office, and have not made any promise to influence the giving or withholding any such vote.
Thank you.
I, Brian Reed, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee for the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society according to the best of my ability. And I do further solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed or offered or promised to contribute any money or other valuable thing as a consideration or reward for giving or withholding a vote at the election at which I was elected to said office, and have not made any promise to influence the giving or withholding any such vote.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. You're all get those signed and notarized and back to Carol as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Privilege of the floor. Nobody has approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Anybody have any changes they'd like to make?
I do. In the director's report, the word medieval.
I think they did that for a reason. Wasn't there a reason they made it medieval? Wasn't it medieval night for a reason? Wasn't it spelled wrong, correct, for a reason?
That's evil. We don't sponsor evil.
No,
I'm sorry, we don't.
Okay.
All right. There's a lot of cash in there. It's purposeful.
No, it does. It's like, I just assumed that it was some
We
kind
do
of
not
cute
sponsor
name.
evil.
No, it was a cute name. I don't know what for, but so we can check with her, and if it's not deliberate, then we'll correct the spelling. Is that
It's in
okay?
Matt's report, it was spelled correctly.
Oh, all right then. But I don't know. Well, without Carol here, it's hard to know whether or not that's the way it's supposed to be. So do I have it? Let's accept it with the
Possible.
possible, thank you, possible correction that may or may not be
That
needed
has to be corrected, I'm sorry.
What?
It should be corrected.
Okay, fine. But if it was the title of the night, that's why I'm saying. You know, it's youth services, there may have been some book about, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's what I just assumed it was.
Do you want a motion?
Yes, go
I
ahead.
move.
You come up with the.
I move we accept as indicated.
The minutes of the April 2nd meeting. All in favor?
Second? Oh,
Second.
sorry.
All right, so the second's there. Okay.
Second is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Nobody has. Thank you. Let's move on. President's report.
Okay, hi, good evening, everybody. Congratulations to all our elected board members here. We have the report through April, which is month 10, so there's 2 months left in the fiscal year. And on the profit and loss, budget versus actual, we got our last tax revenue check in April for the last 10%, 115,000 during the month. The library charges have remained a little below budget, but Matt and I and Norma were discussing that we think that some of the fees that we're charging for library fines were reduced, and that might explain why for the last 5 or 6 months or so we've been.
Yeah, I have to double check on that. I mean, that would be a system-wide thing because of the new ILS. There may have been something that they did as a for all libraries, but I'll double check. I'm not sure on that actually. That was a supposition from Norma's, but I'll look into it.
Right.
But I know also we with a lot of the sorry to cut into here.
No, it's okay,
Ebooks
sure.
too. I mean, ebooks don't gather any late fee on ebooks, so that's part of the right. They just evaporate.
What do you mean? No, there is a charge, though.
No
No.
charge. No.
They just,
Ebooks.
they
I'm
just
saying.
yanked off your
When
computer
ebooks
after
become
2
overdue, they don't
Oh,
become
right.
overdue.
Can't
So
be
that's
overdue,
good.
I
They
guess.
can't be overdue,
Oh, okay.
so then there's no fee.
Thank you.
So we lose income.
You lose income. Ebooks get us several different ways. Yay.
And a notification too, Matt, is that right, that we might be sending out?
An earlier notification, right? So for overdue items, so people are aware. Not that we want to trick them into being overdue, but now there's I think
Right.
another overdue, pre-overdue notice sent out automatically.
Interesting point.
So.
I'll go back to that later.
Right, I only bring that up because for the last 5 or 6 months I've been saying we're not hitting our, our number might have been a little too ambitious to start with, but that could be part of the reason why we're, I'm sure we'll still pass 20,000 for the year, but not 24,000. The salaries is slightly over budget year-to-date now by, a fraction of a percent. And the first paycheck in May was over a little bit as well. So for the full year, we're probably going to be over by a couple thousand, but probably less than 6,000. So it'll be under a 1% difference on the full budget of 631,000. The retirement and the building thing were moved. I think that was done last meeting. So what the board, the journal entry the board requested. The books for Baker and Taylor, a lot of them have been entered and caught up, but there's still more outstanding. So I would say for the full year, the books and the category total library materials will probably be right on budget or slightly above or below. But the 14,000 that were below, we're not going to really be below. So when we get to the bottom line later on in a few minutes of being the whole budget being under by 22,000, it's really more or less right on year to date. So we're running, pretty much right on a bullseye. I don't think for the month anything else stood out as being overly out of whack. More or less everything is running where it should be. The loan payment, we made after the May loan payment, the balance on the loan is down to $256,370.19.
Wonderful.
So it's really chipping away every month. We're well past the halfway point now. Cash on hand, 368 almost in the money market, 108 in the checking. And we're gonna move 200,000 from the money market to the checking to
Cover payroll.
cover payroll for the next couple of months. And then the next meeting or so, the board will have to decide on how much to go for the TAN for before we get our next tax check. Last year, I think we did it at the June meeting or so.
July.
June or July.
I think it's July.
But they over at the school though, they said the sooner the better. So
Okay.
if we got to them a month earlier, they would
So
probably
you wanna put
appreciate
on
it.
We'll put it on the agenda for June.
Right. If that would be okay.
Okay. So you'll work up a recommendation for
Yeah.
June.
Right. Right. I think last year we did 75,000. So if that looks like it's cutting it close, then maybe we'll recommend 100,000 because I think last year for the whole period that we had that temporary loan, the interest was like $210 or so. So if we did a little more, it'd probably be like still under $300. So just for the convenience of not cutting it so close until we get that first check. Because remember, this year we didn't get the last check that we just got till April. The last year we had gotten it in March. So I'd hate to be at the end of the year, and if they were off by 2 weeks and we had a payroll in between, I don't want to, be cutting it that close. And I think that was about it. There's also the listing of the checks that were cut in April as well, non-payroll checks listing. And I think that should do it.
Anybody have any questions for Jack?
Yeah, just a brief one. As far as the TAN goes, it wouldn't impact the April, would it impact the April payroll? Because whatever we pay, whatever we get from the TAN, we actually comes off of our first paycheck, right?
Yeah, it comes out of the first 50% tax revenue check. So instead of getting like half of the 1,000,000, whatever that the new
Right.
budget was, 174, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd get the half minus the 75 or 100,000.
So really the later budget
Right.
items don't really figure into it.
Right,
So-
right. And it would be after, I think last year we got the TAN in July or late July or something. They
And
gave
we
us
don't
the
get our
check.
first tax check until
That's-
Halloween or November
Right,
1st.
that's just to cover us. for
So,
that.
yeah.
Right.
So just
Okay.
For the
cash
next,
flow thing.
right, exactly, cash flow
We need
thing.
to count the number of paydays between,
Mm-hmm.
during that period, because there might be, for whatever reason, it may fall that there's an extra payday before that
Right,
check comes in November.
right, right. We'll calculate that when we figure whether better to do 75,000 or 100.
Okay.
Because that extra 25 could help if there was an extra pay period in there. But also for the next meeting, I'll try and work up projected ending cash for June 30th, but I still think it's going to be in the 250 range.
Okay.
But the 250 is not quite enough to get us through the
Right.
4 months. So, but it should be around there. But I'll work that up for the next meeting as well.
Any other questions for Jack? Yes.
I just didn't recognize a few of these things on the checks. The Quill Corporation pops up several times. Is that a publisher or?
That's library supplies, like office supplies, pens, pencils, papers.
An Overdrive?
Ebook.
Online?
That's ebooks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ebooks? Okay.
Mhm.
And then the person that came in, I saw that she did a presentation, Amelia Bunzy.
Oh, Amelia Bunzy is the newsletter.
Well, she has the newsletter?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Upstart is,
Children's books.
has children's books. And the credit card, Bank of America, that's the card that is used by
Everybody.
everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. So and you have gone through that, I guess, very carefully.
Right.
Mhm.
And they're using that card to purchase books and so on. So when that card gets paid, those expenses will be coded to the books line. That's why the books line, when all is said and done, is going to be on budget, or it's not
Right.
going to be right like it appears now.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? May I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Bernie, Norma seconds. Oh, you might have to write that down. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All opposed? It's unanimous, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Stay home. Okay. Committee reports. Well, the clerk of the vote's not here.
But we have her report for you to take home and read it to leisure.
Oh, good. So,
I'll
I
pass
did
this
pretty
out.
well. Thank you.
This is just her budget and trustee election report for last cycle.
So, we saved about $10,000 this year.
This year, and because she's not here, and I did have this discussion with her, it looks like we won't know until December whether or not we're going to be allowed to continue to use the old voting machines. If we aren't, it could cost us $10,000 or more to do another vote.
yeah.
Because we have to have a
crazy.
ballot for every registered voter.
For what? Is it like 3,000 at least? No, it's more than 3,000, isn't it?
I forget what the.
It's
the
$1 a piece.
It's $1 a piece, and it's, I forget, but what did we have, 200 and 300 people show up and vote?
Right.
But we have to have 10,000 ballots just in case. We've never had 10,000 people vote for anything here.
Do they have to be pre-printed with date
They
and
have
year,
to
so they can't be
pre-printed,
recycled.
They can't be recycled, they can't be reused for anything. It's an incredible, monumental waste of paper, resources, money.
School board vote.
And it's the school board has the same problem, and it's all over the place.
Especially
It is, it's ridiculous.
Like the timber
Yeah,
industry or
move it away
something.
from paper.
It went entirely the wrong way.
We can't set up two computers and
No,
Press
no,
the
there's all
button.
kinds of rules about it.
It's possible that we can do, we can do write-in or something?
I
she
can't
said,
even
but,
remember.
you know.
There's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
maybes,
thought you could
maybe ways
actually,
around
yeah.
it, and possibly we could be hold on to the old machines till 2015. Woohoo!
There's some
Or,
legislation in the,
yeah, there's some legislation, and we're in an odd position because we're a school district library, so that covers us in another way because whatever. But we would still get shellacked if we will. There's no other way to put it. We don't have $10,000 in our budget to cover cover a vote. We have $2,500, I think, is what we budget for the
Yeah.
vote each year. So I have no idea. We'd have to have a bake sale or something. Anyway, so next meeting, Carol, I'm sure would like to go into this further with us. And depending on what the vote is in December, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about it then too. But right now, this time, we were able to use the old machines and they worked very well.
we didn't factor that in this year's budget, did we?
We didn't because we
didn't know.
didn't know. And, we can't factor in something that might not happen and then, oh, we need $10,000 for a vote that we don't need. It's just, I don't know. It wasn't the kind of thing we can do. Anyway, but onward and upward. On to the director's report.
So we're tabling this for next,
What is that?
the budget.
Carol's report, yeah. I think it would be better, you can read it yourself, and I guess if we have any questions, we can ask her about it. But, and she knows this back and forward, and she's keeping track of all the legislation and the,
We're gonna talk about it at the next meeting.
yeah, I think
Yep.
that's the thing to do. I was
Yep.
kinda hoping she was gonna be here and she wanted to talk about it, but
Yep.
she's on the Jersey Turnpike right now. So, that's it. I don't think there's other committee reports, are there? Half our committees aren't even here, so, and we didn't restructure them, so.
I'm up.
You're up, director's report.
First, I'd like to welcome the new trustees. And before I read my report, I was wondering if you have any general questions about how this works. 'Cause I remember in the past kind of launching into stuff with new trustees and they being sort of confused by some of the acronyms. You know that we're a member library of RCLS, Ramapo Catskill Library System, which is just a loose consortium, really. It's not like branches of so we don't coordinate our buying of materials or anything. It's sort of a kind of a loose federation of libraries that seek to assist each other through pooling their resources. And when it comes to interlibrary loan, that's the major. So you'll see this ANSER costs in the budget answer. That's what we pay to RCLS, but more specifically to the RCLS answer fund, which is how we purchase our jointly shared ILS system, which is the catalog. And so that's primarily what RCLS does is it coordinates that cataloging system and it coordinates the book delivery system, which is a big part of their. Only recently they have tacked on to those answer costs a new charge because the state continues to cut, and for library systems that's more kind of problematic than it is for member libraries because they depend a lot on state aid. So since they haven't been getting, to make up for that, those cuts, they've had to impose some further fees on member libraries, which they did by very kind of Byzantine but fair formula, which took into account how big the service population was, how many books you ILL'd out, sent out, how many you got back, and at the end of that, in our case, it was about $1,500 a year, which really is more or less for the transportation of the materials around the system. Recently, the biggest library, well, the second biggest library, maybe the biggest library in the system last year, backed out of Answer. That was Finkelstein in Spring Valley. You may have noticed if you use the catalog a lot that a big part of the shared collection sort of disappeared when they did that. You could still get things from them, but it's a very roundabout process now. And that also sort of, you know, added to the woes of smaller libraries because they paid a pretty good percentage of some of these fees. But I think that's, you know, Robert Hubscher is the head of RCLS. He's basically the CEO there. And I don't feel like often they get utilized as much as they could. It's just, you know, it's not always easy to coordinate things, but they're there for lots of stuff. They have lots of services for assisting member libraries just in planning efforts, in dealing with friends groups, in trustee training. They did, you know, they have a lot out there. It's just a matter of having the time and you know, sort of getting, you know, logistics together to get them over here. The other thing I might mention before I forget is there is I'm not sure, did I send this out, I think to you, there's a trustee, I'm sorry, not a trustee training, there is a friends training group at Albert Wisner in Warwick in a couple of weeks, and I can send this out again. If anyone's interested, it's open to anybody. I mean, it's you know, it's friends, but it's open to trustees, it's open to you know, just library workers, anybody that would like to go. It might be helpful to you guys to go to see something like that, just to you know, just to meet some other people in the bigger library world. I got a million things on here, so I'll move on. But anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Even, you know, email me or whatever.
Thanks.
It can be a little confusing when you're just coming in from the outside. Let's see, what were the big things that happened this month? Does anyone remember that read my report?
Yes. The things are gone from Salesian, the
Yes.
bring them up
For free.
What are those
That was
things
the
called?
best part.
Trailers, thank you.
We thought it was going to be a few
Yeah.
$1,000s, and it turned out somebody said, "Oh, I'll take them for free."
Which was nice because
Lovely.
the quotes I was getting
We
like
like free.
$35,000, $4,000, $3,500.
I after I left the meeting, I went to a guy I know who's a scrapper. He was all excited. He's like, really? He's just like, there's nobody going up there. He's just like, give me the phone number.
Oh, really?
So by the time he called you, it was
Somebody
within,
was
yeah,
doing it.
because he's just like, the aluminum's going for a great price right now. So people jumped all over it.
Well, that's pretty strange. Funny because the people I called were so,
Okay.
they dragged it. If you can get it to
Who's
us, we'll
that?
take it.
Oh, really?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, but I you know.
Is it Frank? Frank, is that you?
The spirit.
He misses us.
He'll be watching this.
Yeah. I'll be getting an email.
It's
tomorrow.
And he knows where you live.
Yeah, I know he does.
Oh, you have the book. You want
Yes,
to show the book?
Eleanor.
That's the good news. So,
Our assistant director got her, and it's an award-winning novel.
Yeah.
It's really cool,
Yeah.
and it's a good book. It's a very good book.
That's
I was
funny,
kind of
she'll
hoping
be-
she'd sign it for me today.
Saturday she'll be at the Main Street School between, I think, what,
10 a.m.
10 a.m. down here. If you'd like to get a signed copy.
There you go.
Are they going to be selling copies there? Or we
I
find our own?
believe she is. I have to check. But she had knee surgery over this weekend, so I haven't seen her. But I'll email her tonight and see what she's doing. Either that, or I'll try to pick some up at Barnes & Noble or something for her, if she hadn't gotten over there. Ken, I don't know how many of you got to see Amelia Earhart. That was
It was wonderful.
fantastic.
Wonderful.
So too.
It's wonderful.
We gave a count here of almost 500 attendees in total for the counting extended run. Trailers, okay. Some murder we got. Building concerns. Oh, the little did I know putting this standby generator in would create such ripple effect. Today we had the whole road closed because the gas company came. Apparently, after I called them and gave them the specs, and it's not a big unit, but it was big enough, or it was whatever, or we just didn't have enough pressure that they had to come in and
That's what they're doing.
and open up the roads to increase the pressure for the generator. We recently, I don't know, you probably know, this whole downstairs was in ruination for a while, so we're looking to keep that from happening.
Sump pumps.
So we have
So
sump pumps, right?
We put in a generator so that the sump pumps don't shut off if we lose power in a storm, which frequently happens. So we won't have a flood again. But it's been like I don't even know where to go with it. It's just been one thing
Takes a
after
while.
another. Every single thing we start branches off.
And
It
this,
just gets.
this is a new floor.
This is a new floor.
New wall.
Wall.
They cut them
Yeah.
halfway. So they don't want, that would be terrible to walk in here and have to do that all over.
It would.
On that, actually, I'm still discussing with FEMA this is
It's almost
kind of
a year later
Yeah.
now.
Jake Bell?
Gate valve, right. And this thing keeps morphing into different things. Well, the last discussion I had, it turns out that the gentleman, a representative from FEMA, happens to be a retired civil engineer who put town sewers in. I wish he had told me this early on, because he was just letting me talk, and I'm listening and taking his notes and such. But at the end of it, I mean, you know, it comes down to this. If we can get this money, it would be somewhere around $7,000. And then we have to convince them, and I'm willing to keep pushing it, to do it, that we are, you know, that we're deserving of these funds, given the other disasters and stuff that they're dealing with. So it's I don't know how they exactly work that out, but the last quote I'd received from TAM Enterprises, I won't give a number, but it's not near that $7,000 number.
Okay.
I'll go into that later. The FEMA guy, of course, now after this, you know, probably several hour discussion over a few months, recommended, depending on how long you're staying in the building and depending on all these other factors, you know, you could take that where it's coming from. FEMA guy, I don't know, he's very knowledgeable, but he's working for the government, said you should just get a plug that goes into, it's a, you ever hear of this thing?
Mm-hmm.
You pump up, you put it into the main sewer line when there's a problem, and you inflate it, and it would stop water from backing up.
I was wondering about
So-
that. I actually was thinking about that there must be some way.
I just
Something that
throw that
makes
out there in
sense.
case anybody wants to, you know, research it further. I looked into it. It does look like that's what a lot of people do
What does
for
that cost?
emergencies.
It's probably less
It's
than
like $35.
Well, why don't we?
I got a quick question to that one. So we stop it for coming in here, but it goes somewhere else?
Well, right.
And then they come knocking on the door.
Huh?
No.
See, what happens is, when we had that flood,
Right.
it flooded the sewer system in the village.
Correct.
And then
And then it
Came
came
up.
in through, there's a toilet right around the corner
Yeah,
here.
Right, right.
It bubbled up.
It all came into
Okay.
septic, into the basement here.
All right. I didn't know if it was just them, you know.
So,
No, it's okay if it doesn't come in here. We're okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
someone's
right.
go somewhere else.
We don't care where it goes.
We do.
between them
We
and
don't.
FEMA.
It's the sewage and.
That's right.
we should get one of those
Let it
just
keep going.
in case between now and when FEMA
Right.
hopefully comes through, we
Right,
have
for
it.
$35.
Oh, yeah, he gleefully informed me too that you just need a bicycle pump. You don't even need electric. You just push in there and you pump it up with a
I can just see you here at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, it's better than mopping up.
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
More
boy.
complicated than I think. But the ones I saw were just basically, amazing. I'm not sure how you know for sure that you have enough pressure, and I think it has an indicator. It has some kind of an indicator that you hit a certain pressure, and it tells you, okay, this is not going to move.
That's fantastic.
So it's just something to think about. I mean, what happened was we started with the gate valve, and then we were told that the gate valve will have to be subterranean, and you'll need a license to enter the manhole to
Right.
manually crank
We
the thing
wouldn't be able
closed.
to do
No
it
way.
Yeah, you need
ourselves.
a-
No way.
We'd have
you
to
need
get a
a
licensed plumber here next time.
Closed quarters, plumbing, something
Whatever.
certification.
Yeah, not just any plumber.
So
That's
then
right.
Father-in-law has one in the basement. He just turns.
Oh, right, that's the
Right.
thing. If you don't have to put it underground, they said,
Right, but
but
we
in
have
our
to put
case,
it
it seems like
underground.
it's gonna have to be outside the building and underground. I'm not even a novice, never mind an expert with this stuff, so. But the next thing was, we went from that to TAM recommending a pump station, which in my mind is this big thing with bells and lights and horns, but it's not, I guess, but it stands above the ground, and it's an electronic thing that keeps, in other words, you don't need a person to activate it. It just senses pressure, and it somehow pushes, somehow pressurizes in the reverse direction, or something to that event, something to that description. But that's expensive. So then we're back to this plug.
I would have thought a flapper valve would be sufficient.
Well, I started with
we
the flat.
thought
Yeah,
that- Yeah, but they,
they
everybody,
I
oh,
was just gonna say
no, you don't want to do that,
poo-poo,
yeah.
that was the wrong thing to say.
Probably the wrong choice of words. No,
Hey, Matt, put a plug in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
so
I just throw that out
basically-
there.
So
Just throw that out there because I was taken aback.
That's great.
He said, this is really the fix.
You do it.
Right, so-
Friends. I don't know if you'd like to chime in here on the Friends. They've given us a lot of money this year toward a
Very
bunch
generous.
of stuff that I had.
Very generous.
Very generous. That I had been meaning to catch up with them about all antediluvian stuff, pre-flood.
We are
Some-
their purpose, though.
We what?
We are their purpose.
We are. I think I have a couple other invoices I have to bring to them, but they're nothing at that level of expense. Let's see. Book sales are about to start up again, and Friends have a long list of upcoming presentations and variety. I guess book signing also with Eleanor, but also I can't think of his name. Ed Connor.
Ed Connor.
Ed Connor's second book is coming out. Images of Goshen. I'm sure you've all seen that.
Of course.
And we have an antique appraisal fair again in the fall, I believe. All this will be in the upcoming newsletter, which reminds me, if anyone, friends, just let me know if you have anything you'd like me to add from the, where am I? From the board, in the newsletter, because we're starting to work on the summer one.
Should we include a public thank you from the trustees
I think that's a good idea.
into the newsletter?
Mhm.
Would you like me to draft it and I'll email it to you?
That would be delightful. Thank you for
Just
Thank
a
you.
public, because I mean they are, we're all part of the Friends. It's just
No, it would be nice.
super generous.
Mhm.
You know, they're keeping the library name out there and activities in the public eye. So I will email it to all of you. Jim, feel free to
Okay.
edit, comma, semicolon.
I thought you were
anything.
going to say a thank you to the community for supporting the budget.
That's
That
what I
too.
thought you were
That would-
talking
yeah.
about
We
too.
we could do both.
Yeah,
Yeah, do both.
and you know, welcome our new board members. Marty.
Would you like 3 separate letters? 2,
No, how about
1?
one?
No, you one little paragraph.
One
and-
joy.
One paragraph with all.
Paragraphs too.
Yeah, you could. do,
Really?
you know,
I hadn't heard of that. Is
three
that a
separate
newfangled ebooks things?
Yeah. It's one of those computers.
Or just put all things in one paragraph.
So I will, Jim,
Good
feel free
things come in
to.
threes.
There you go. And then you're all.
Is that the headline you wanted?
Okay.
I think that's it. Unless
That's
anyone
it?
had any questions.
Yeah, I do have questions.
Okay.
You do?
Well, you mentioned that there's an automatic cutoff on how long you could take an ebook out for.
Yes.
How long is that?
It may vary, but I thought, is it 2 weeks?
I think it's 2
I've never
weeks.
taken one
It
out
might be
myself.
3.
but-
And it also might depend on the book. But
So
I can't remember for sure because I don't generally do it.
I haven't done it myself. So is it safe to say that people don't actually check them back in? They just allow it to expire, which means that for that period of
Probably.
time, even if they only took 1 day or 2 days to read it, then it's unavailable to anybody else for that period of time.
Given human nature,
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
I don't know if, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if,
That's not good.
no.
Maybe there's a way.
Well, that's the way books work. What do you mean that's not
Yeah.
good?
No, books work, you know, if
way
they're
books work.
overdue, you have to pay money. So people, they look at the little slip when it's due and they'll bring it in when they
But
can.
they might check it out for a
So-
month and read it the first week, then they don't bring it in necessarily till the end of the month.
Depends on, you know,
So-
who it is.
So
and
that book is
family.
not available?
But the ebook,
Yeah,
If
I
people
don't
don't have to
remember
check
how
to
it
see if
works
it's due.
exactly.
yeah, I
They
think the
hold
regular,
books.
the regular
It's
It's not
ebooks.
usually like one
Magazine.
e-copy
Oh,
of
somebody,
something.
I wasn't talking about
That
this
sounds
with you.
ridiculous.
you might,
That based, that, I think, it depends on the ebook.
I take out
And
old-fashioned books.
you can have the ebook specified for just your library or the whole system. But there is one license for that ebook, basically, so when it's out, nobody else can use that
Right.
license for the book. But it automatically comes back, and then the thing is, if there's a waiting list of 8 people, the next person can take it out at that point, too.
I mean, that's cool, that
Um,
part's cool.
Yeah, so that's
But
what I meant,
people-
that's what I meant, with books work that way, too, you can only have one out,
Yeah, but-
you know, in terms of that.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, but they,
Right.
yeah, you're
But we
right, they
have
can
5
keep it
or
out
10
longer than
copies
that and
and-
pay
Yeah,
a
they don't
fine
think,
if
if you
they're
don't have to
done.
pay money to pay the fine, you don't
Right.
think about it. And
Right, but it can't ever be overdue because we just yank them back when they're like self-expire.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it should be, but
Oh, no, I'm just like, so, right, I see your point, there's no real
I
motivation.
don't know what the system does, if it, you know, reminds them, and that reminder could spur people to check them back in. I don't know, it just,
In order to check
I don't
it back in,
thought-
what is the procedure?
I don't know if there is one. I
There may
think-
not even
I
be
don't
one.
think
Maybe
there is
that's
one.
what
I think it's just,
He's
it
suggesting that
self-terminates.
you get to the end, the last page, and then a little thing comes up and says, "Are you ready to return this book?" and you click it.
That would be nice.
But-
That would actually be really good.
see, I don't know how publishers feel about that aspect of ebooks. You know, some have pulled back, including Penguin,
Mhm.
on making ebooks available because, you know, I think it was HarperCollins was saying that, well, you know, to represent the wear and tear, you could only check out an ebook 24 times, and
Yeah.
after that you have to purchase a new copy.
Mhm.
And some publishers have just pulled away from that, the process. They're not sure how they're going to deal with it, but some might be thinking that, with an ebook, where if you could take it out and then easily check it back in,
Right.
then more people can take it out. And so they lose money on people not purchasing books or, not having to deal with the friction of taking out a book.
And have you seen what
So-
Amazon's doing? They're directly competing with libraries now.
Yeah.
If you own a Kindle and you own a book on a Kindle, you can lend it to some other person who owns a Kindle for 2 weeks for free.
They even really took a shot at the public libraries. Did you see what they said?
No.
Whereas at the public library, you may be waiting for weeks for that. Sounds like that's
Thanks a lot, pal. Thanks.
So you can borrow from any other
If
Kindle?
I have a Kindle and you have a Kindle and I have a copy of Eleanor's book and you don't, I can lend it to you for 2 weeks for free.
So
Kindle owners.
Then people could go on the Craigslist and say, I have the following library.
Mm.
Contact me for $1, I'll send you the
Yeah.
Send you what?
Allow you
At
to
least
borrow.
2-week lease of the book.
borrow from me.
Sure.
Let's just say
Sounds like a
that,
moneymaker.
let's say someone has that electronically on their Kindle.
Right.
I want to read it. When they finish with it, they put on Craigslist, I have the following books on my Kindle.
Yeah.
If you want one, use PayPal, send me $1 and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, how do you do that though? I don't know how to do that from a Kindle. Send you the book from me.
Well-
It works through Amazon. I don't actually do it for you. I can.
But you would give Amazon permission for that person
As
to
you would
take it.
a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
say they're your
Amazon
friend.
is the middleman, and you don't
Right.
follow it, but you don't.
But you wouldn't give permission to Amazon to do that until you got
Your dollar.
your buck.
Yeah, I get it. I follow you.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's. I haven't explored it any further than my first thought was, oh great, they're lending ebooks now. Wonderful. So.
I have a couple other questions.
Oh,
So, the electric chair, is that down both lengths of the stairs?
Yeah, no, it would be coming
Coming from the
that
outside
middle.
door?
That's a bad term,
Yes.
isn't it?
I know, I saw it. It sounds like automated chair. This.
That's how it's written.
Isn't it?
An electric chair.
It's a new feature, right?
Okay, so
Instead of
we
overdue
need for
funds.
one
Anyone knew.
right here from the outside door. Okay.
Yeah.
oh, well, that's good.
So, I also have a question regarding ebook readers. Let's see. So what were the sessions are, as I think we discussed at the last meeting, you had a couple of the folks teach our patrons how to download, how to use their ebook
Right.
readers.
Mhm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And on the last page, actually, it's not yet.
And that's gonna happen again, right?
Yes.
And that'll
So
be on the
first time
website?
5 people, second time 6 people. As the word gets out, you're finding that more and more people are interested in this.
Yeah.
What does she mean? Well, it's just her. Our total circulation this month was 8,866, excluding ill and out of district. What does the change in videos and books on tape have to do with a lower number?
Let's see, I don't even know. Our total circulation this month was 8,866, excluding ill and out of district. And adding in, I guess we also slight decrease, a few hundred from last year. Yeah, I'll have to ask her.
Just piqued my interest. that's
No,
all.
I have yet to actually see this new workflows.
Could she mean is just titles that we have in our library, excluding anything we got from outside the
We had
library?
Right, but
less because
the
of
question
reading?
is more
Yeah, it
about
doesn't-
what the change has to
Right.
do with the videos and the books on tape. I'm guessing.
I'll ask,
books
she'll
on
hear
tape are
tomorrow.
more,
I'm just keeping up at night, That's it.
She meant going like from videos to DVDs?
Oh, no. I don't know. See, if we got her autograph, she can explain this.
Damn.
I know. Okay, now did you hand out that's this, right? Okay, any other questions for Matt? Okay, we're going to move on. We will be making this official next month. This is the Children's Youth Services Department addition to our business plan, which is the last thing we have to add. So, we can spend a few minutes on it this evening, and then I think it's pretty good the way it is.
I kind of, I took Michelle's stuff that you guys have. She had a couple different versions, and I actually pulled them together, and I tried to use Keith's
Format, yeah.
templates or to fit it, to fit, and I'm sure you'll see things that you'd like to change or strike, because some of it may be a little, especially when you get to the programs, I wasn't sure, some of it may be a little redundant, but I did try to break it down to make, the reader aware that they're geared toward different levels, and so if it looks redundant, sometimes it's just that we do this for, preschool, and we also do it for kindergarten,
We were supposed to, from our last meeting, we were supposed to get the piece with the paragraph that we had written here, plus Keith's outline for this meeting, so that we can look at it. Did we? Yes, we were.
No, I'm not saying we weren't, I'm trying to remember.
Carol was collecting that.
Yeah.
Just to see it all together.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was Carol was collecting all that.
yeah. So,
And, she's on Jason.
Well, this is quite an addition.
Yeah, I think this is,
The first report she provided.
yes.
so should we
It puts
I think
the
we
look at
adult
this
one to
part
shame.
plus
No.
that part
Well,
together?
no, what I thought we were going to do is approve this and then next month have the whole thing in total to look at. If, and to include, the end game here is it's going to all be included in your binder. So we were going to have the whole thing printed out. Like, we approved everything as we went along, and then this was like the last thing we were going to approve.
We don't need to vote on it.
We don't
No,
really
no,
need to
no,
vote on it,
just,
no, it's
No.
not that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's
right.
just, we all kinda have to agree, and then this is the kind of thing we'll go back every year and go, yep, are we still doing that? Yep, yeah, we are, so we'll just keep it that way.
It would do well to see it all together regardless.
Right, well,
So-
the whole thing should be
See how it
together,
all
up on the,
flows together.
right, it should be all together, up on the website, and everybody should have a copy of it in their binder. It's, well, what does the library do? Well, as a matter of fact, now we have an answer. Now we have it all worked out. Is there anything about this that you think should be changed?
Just the formatting. How she indented all
No, me.
the paragraphs,
There wasn't.
except for the programs and.
Yes.
Well, maybe not, maybe not.
No, I
It's
think
okay,
that was-
it's okay.
I'm sorry, huh?
Never mind, I pulled it.
Looks good.
Yeah, I think it looks good too.
But you're gonna say using numbers and Roman numerals and
Well,
everything
she's
else.
inconsistent with her underlining.
On that, it's on purpose, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
well,
it was
young
like-
adult wasn't
And
That was my
underlined.
fault. No, I
Is
did
that supposed to be underlined?
Yes,
Young
but it was
adult?
programs and underline.
Okay,
Right.
so it's bold.
But I meant to underline young adult.
Okay,
So
and outreach efforts, is that supposed to be underlined?
Yes.
too?
No,
No, all right, just.
And why would one be ball facing versus underlining?
I can underline if you like. I don't know.
You can italicize the whole thing if it makes you happy.
No. God forbid.
Mm. I think this is good.
Yeah. It's
Do
too
you
good.
think we should, at some point, have a date on, as to when this was
Right,
prepared?
well, I think, I was, shooting for that to be officially in June's meeting. That we would discuss this tonight, if everybody's okay with it, we get the final thing in June's meeting and it would have that date on it.
Okay,
That was the thinking.
right.
There you go.
This is,
Yeah, I did the update. You got the update,
Yeah.
including the
right.
Little note,
Yes, right.
including but certainly not limited to.
Yes, it's perfect. It's brilliant.
brilliant.
That's a stroke of genius. We've been working on this for almost a year because we've never ever had a business plan. And if we were an actual company who went to a bank every year and asked them for 1.2 million in operating funds, we'd need a business plan. So we've came up with one for the library, and we work on it probably 15 minutes a meeting since then. We had one real meeting where we sat down for about an hour and began the whole process. And we came up with a mission statement and the whole business plan. This is the last part of it.
Is it?
Yes,
Is
dear.
it? Because I looked at today's record and in the business section, it was a little section on business plans. And the last thing they had in there was how to market, how to include that as part of the business plan. How to
Okay.
market, I mean, we are a business, except, you know,
Mhm.
ours is pretty much free, and we
Yeah.
do have our newsletter. It might just be
Well-
nice to include those few things that we
Our
use to
marketing.
market, yeah.
I thought we did that actually in the beginning of the, months now. We mentioned the newsletter, we mentioned the website. I don't remember, Norma took wonderful notes.
Not really, but.
She took better notes than I did.
Compared to compared to Elizabeth.
But that's a section unto itself.
Yeah, I don't really know where marketing falls in with a public library.
Well,
Well, we just-
we need to draw
We
our
just
business.
we mentioned our website, our newsletter,
And the friends.
and the friends.
Yeah, that's pretty much all our
That's
marketing.
that's our reach, and well, no, that's you joining Rotary.
Well, our marketing
that
is also
government,
through the
public
Shakespeare in the
relations,
Park and the
Yeah.
other
The events,
programs
yeah, the
that we
events
do.
that we-
all educational programs that we sponsor.
Yeah.
That's marketing.
Oh, whatever.
That's a good point.
Well, I mean, you consider a fifth of the voter, a fifth roughly, said, no, we don't want to increase your funds because we don't appreciate you enough, you know. It's only 46 people who came out, but still would be nice to have that, have everybody
They're always
appreciate.
close.
I know,
I
it's
know.
so
There's just a group.
wrong.
We had a
We do
zero
so
increase
much.
last year, and they said no to that too. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, let's deal with this right.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you want to add, I don't see anything to change here or anything to add to it. Does anyone else?
Mm.
Everybody satisfied with this? You know, we fixed the underlining and the.
I mean, I did it in the last 3 hours today I mean, I had all this stuff on my desk, but I pulled it together, so I'll look at it again, over the next couple of days and tighten up stuff and whatever, but, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
think-
Well, if we find something,
yeah,
we'll bring it to
send
the
it
next
to me,
meeting.
you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
right, we'll bring it to
Yeah.
the next meeting and we'll make it official and final then. Does that sound? So
We'll get the whole packet together.
We'll get the whole
Very
packet
complete.
together.
I like that she included space.
Mhm.
That's a resource.
It is,
That
yeah.
I took from you.
Yeah, because it is.
We work
It's-
together. By the way, while we're on the topic of space and children's room stuff, Michelle will kill me if I don't, she reminded me to tell you all, see these gumball things, this is part of this gumball challenge she's doing?
Okay.
Do you know about this?
No.
Okay. She sent out into the world of various delegates from the library to have people put up put their favorite, in the shape of a gumball machine, put their favorite author and what they were. So I have director Matt and I have the Thompson and then the kids go around and they collect all of this information either by directly in contact with the person or by just finding that little globe on their wall or on their door. So I mean, of course, their parents help them out to do all this. And it's a contest who can collect the most of these things. They win this gumball machine at the end. So that's
Oh,
what you're
that's
seeing
nice.
with all of those titles.
It's overflowing. It's
Yeah.
an overflowing
right.
gumball.
I was wondering what was going on with the thing sticking out of the top.
You can no longer at that
You
one.
can no longer see the
25 cents
gumball
though?
machine.
That's a big balls, I guess.
So how long does this go on for?
Let's see here. It's out there on her board, I believe another couple of weeks anyway.
That's cool.
This is the thing they have hanging up, so you'll see it around. It's a color though, but
Nice.
Like the front.
yeah, oh, that's right there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Mm.
Is there any other unfinished business?
Expensive.
Maybe multiple fumbles, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Anybody have anything else they want to bring up that we forgot to put in the agenda for this month? I don't think there's anything. All right, then, we'll be moving along. New business, reorganization. This is where we do the fun thing where we all agree on the bank that we always use and make it our official bank. Right?
Yes.
Okay, ready? Okay, the designation of official banks. Resolve that the library funds be deposited in one of the following banks: Bank of America, Chase, Key Bank, Orange County Trust Company, Provident Bank, Berkshire Bank, TD Bank North, and M&T Bank. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. That's Jim and Keith. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So I just. Okay. Designation of official newspapers. Resolved that the newspapers of record are the Times Herald Record, the Goshen Independent, and the Chronicle. May I have a motion? Oh, no. Thank you. May someone second that, please? Bernie? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody? Okay. Designation of official meeting day and time. Resolved that the regular monthly meetings of the Board of Trustees will be scheduled on the second Monday of each month at 7:30 p.m. May I have a motion? Keith? Second? Norma? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. The appointment of our attorney. Resolved that the library continue to retain the legal services of Robert W. Fink, attorney at law. Motion? Nancy? Yay. Second? Yeah.
Second.
Jim? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed? Nobody? Okay. Resolved that the library use the resources of Norton and Christensen Law Offices at 60 Erie Street, Goshen, as backup to Robert W. Fink, Goshen Public Library and Historical Society attorney, in cases where specialized legal expertise is needed. May I have a motion? Norma? And a second, please? Bernie? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, wonderful. Two more. Appointment of our accountant or slash treasurer. Resolve that the library appoint Robert W. Schultz, CPA, to be the library treasurer. Motion? No.
Somebody else raised their hand.
Second? Ryan, yay!
Welcome to the club.
I was pricing my eyes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody? Thank you. Last one. Appointment of clerk of the board. Resolved that Carol T. Cullen, library part-time, will be appointed as clerk of the board.
I make that
Keith?
motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And Jim will second it. Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody? Thank you. Motion carries. And that's that. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other new business that we need to deal with? Any other new business?
You got the nominating committee
Right.
listed
Oh,
there.
right, sorry.
We knew that's what just
Right.
last month.
Appointment of the nominating committee. So it has to be the nominating committee for, what's that?
No. Slade Walk.
Don't all jump at it at once.
We did it last time. I mean, somebody else can
Yes.
jump.
Somebody
We
else
did it
can do
last
it.
time.
What is the nominating committee?
The nominating committee is basically the people who put forth the executive board
Slate.
slate. Thank you.
And how do they know who to put forward?
Oh, they'll call me up.
Last time they emailed Bernie and I.
Email
Yes.
people. Yeah.
There's no strict method for it, so.
Yeah, it's really kind of.
And then the nominations are open at the next meeting when we do the voting. In other words, the nominating committee
Yeah, the
nominate
nominating committee makes a recommendation.
me.
So why do we even have a nominating committee?
I don't know. We have a nominating committee to make a recommendation, and then usually everybody goes with the nominating committee's recommendation. But you can say, no, I don't want
Yeah.
Ellen to be president again, so I'm going to vote for someone else, and then vote for someone else, or something else.
It's part of the election process for the
For
officers of the board.
officers. As the new fiscal year starts, we start all over again in July.
And
President.
there was one, was it a written rule or an unwritten rule that you could, if you're on the nominating committee, you may not,
Elect yourself as president.
you can't,
Or the president can't be on the nominating
I
committee.
the
can't
president,
nominate.
a nomination for the position of president can't come from anybody who's not on the committee.
But then you were saying the other way around, the converse, I think, where the nominating committee can't elect themselves
Right.
for the slates, and president.
Carol knows all this stuff, and that's why she's supposed to be here. But I don't know.
Well, I'll serve
Thank you,
again, if
Jen.
that would be helpful.
Thank you very much. And who would like to serve with Jen? Nancy?
Sure.
Okay, maybe one more.
You need
No.
3 people?
No,
No.
we did
I thought
two.
it was three. That's
We
just-
did
No,
two.
just 2.
We did
Just
two.
the 2 of them last
We did it
time.
last time.
Okay, so Jim and Nancy will be the nominating committee.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. And they're thrilled about it.
Yay.
Now, what's our budget?
Your expense account is.
It was take to buy a
Yeah, it's the same
chalkboard, a
as-
small chalkboard for the sleeve.
And then you just email us like the deadline by when you want our input or whatever, and then so that you can have it for the next meeting. We set a deadline last
When-
time.
So you-
Yeah,
you-
and
You sent an email to the board asking anybody who was interested to...
No, we just left it that anybody who was interested in nominating to email both of us
Either somebody else or
by
yourself.
such and such a date.
Or
So,
any-
because then you two have to get together and discuss
Okay.
amongst yourselves. And the topic is the nominating committee.
Okay, so if we send an email out and give you 2 weeks, would that be
What?
sufficient?
what?
And then after
Fine.
they responded, that we would meet.
Okay.
And then anyone that is not nominated by the nominating committee can still be nominated at the meeting before the
Correct.
vote takes place. So.
Because I think she put it in
Oh,
the,
she-
did you,
Yeah.
did everybody else
Oh,
get
did
it?
you?
Yes,
Okay.
you did. send
Okay.
that.
Just to put your.
The reason that this page is still in here is so that somewhere in the future when people go, hey, what happened to the sunshine policy? We can say, oh, it was redacted on the 25th. That's why, because that's what I said to her, well, if we got rid of it, why is it here? Just
Hmm.
because,
Oh, that makes sense.
yeah, it's obviously missing, so we
It's for
included
1
it, but
year.
it's no longer in force. Okay. So that's it. Privilege of the floor. Nobody? All right. That's it. Any other new business? No. Okay. So we're gonna go into executive session. If you would be so kind as to shut her down.
Oh, there's no motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I do that all the time. May I have a motion to go into executive session? There we go. Norma and Bernie. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody.
And it's 8?